number 3. Yay! Oh my gosh! A real good friend, and she's a woman. Now I've got one of each for the Ascension Center. Yay! I love the power of 3. All right, Suzanne, please introduce yourself, and hopefully Tommy will let all of us talk equally. But I'm sorry, Tommy, but Tommy has a lot of followers that love to listen to him, but I want to create our new world together. So, oh my gosh, he'll love you. You're very sweet. But go ahead.
Hey,
go ahead and
Tommy,
introduce yourself, and then I'll let Tommy talk to you.
Tommy, thank you for letting me introduce myself on your show. Very generous of you and kind. Yeah, Suzanne Wyman, and I call myself the Deep Psychic. I like to go deep. I like to go past patterns, traditions, and work at the deepest level with people. And that's what I love. And I just met Teresa, just met her momentarily ago.
It was a lot of living, though, Tommy. It was one of those crash courses in the universe. She just flooded in, and we did all this mental work together and created something, and she was told to call me. And the first words out of her mouth was, "Are you a psychic?" I went, "Yes."
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I move so fast sometimes I forget about being polite. I have a friend, and she says to me, she goes, how are you today, Suzanne? How you doing? Because I just go, okay, so what are you doing today? What's going on? I go way past the opening line and just jump right into the middle of the story. But with you, it was perfect. It was really perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And Tommy, actually, she was introduced to me one of 4 phone numbers. That's how she learned about me from one of our new directors. Tommy, you haven't met him either, but he is a connector of humans on the planet, and he has gone through many of the courses. He followed Wayne Dyer, and I did too, and he knows about the man that trained Tony Robbins, and I did too. But he's trained a lot of people, Tommy. He's really world renowned. But he says he's going to be my friend, and he is on LinkedIn, but he says we will learn together. So I have a feeling, Tommy, I may be able to start having people to be real friends first. And his name is Robert Butwin, and we have yet to see what we'll all create together, Tommy, but I may be able to, in this new world, create more people to be on teams with us, Tommy, so I'm excited about Suzanne, if we can hold on to her. Tommy and I don't have really good luck at keeping people in our inner circle, and we should probably look at that in this universe. So we're going to talk today to each other and get to know each other. So, Tommy, if you would like to just let's be universal and accept each other at teacher level, regardless of what we call ourselves. We're going to learn to communicate, and that's what this show is all about. And in our spiritual community, so let's do what we can to create a spiritual community. Some people call it spiritual science community, and help to work with each other. So I don't know where this is going to go, folks. It's called synergy and serendipity behavior. But hopefully we're going to look at our inner selves and our outer backdrop or universe, our humans. So I guess she's going to help me learn to communicate with a female and a male at the same time. And Tommy, this is going to be interesting. All right, I'm going to mute, but Tommy, could you just let Suzanne get used to speaking on the radio, too, with you? So maybe you could start like you did with me and Janet back in the beginning, and maybe this one will last longer. But I'm going to mute Tommy. So welcome her to the show, and let you two get to know each other, whatever that is, folks. Let's just listen in. So y'all talk, and we'll listen, okay? Okay, creating communication with a male and female in the English language that's never met. I will mute.
Greetings. Hi.
Greetings.
So I've been with TJ for a while, and what happens in life, we all have to learn certain things. Whether we ever find out what they are, TJ has certain things to learn, I have certain things to learn. And what we both have are pretty separate, when we do a radio show. So I always say a third party is always beneficial because this way you get a wider view of what's going on. But you said you were psychic. Did you spend most of your life as a psychic?
I have. So let me do a short reading for you. I've gotten enough of a vibration from you that I can actually feel it. You are somebody who has a real understanding of people's emotions. You're able to take people past what they understand about themselves, place them into a safe zone so that they can come to understand the deepest level of what their emotional process is about, help them lift blocks. You do energy lifting of blocks out of people's chakras and assist them to be free of those blocks so that they can experience their full potential. You truly are a great mentor, teacher, great deal of patience. You have a good attitude. I think sometimes you're a little bit hard with yourself and expecting that you should be able to be more precise, more exact, and duplicate your results. But in the world of metaphysicians, your results are always a miracle, so they're always unique and one of a kind to each individual. I like your patience. You have more patience than I have. You have more ability to listen to people's stories. I have somebody talk about their story. I can already see it in the psychic imagery, so I don't really want to go through the details unless I'm interested.
Right.
But you do have a great sense of humor. I think that right now you are in the middle of a couple of transitions. Everybody's in the middle of the pandemic, which is the brand new world being reborn, and it's a better world about to be born, and it's a fabulous time. I'm energized about it. I was always surprised every day I got up, and we're supposed to be in quarantine, and I got up and I go, God, I feel so good. I felt like I spent my whole life preparing for this moment when the old system would collapse and the new system would be reborn. So I was always kind of surprised that I thought, God, why do I feel so good about this? It's weird. So, but you do have a marvelous attitude, and you have been balancing too many things at the moment. You like certainty. So by the way, Tommy, do I have the right to go deeper here in this conversation about you?
Sure. Do you want me to say anything at all, or you just want to keep going?
Let me just keep going. I've got the energy flow going. Let's just do it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you had this really complex childhood. In public, your childhood looked like it was perfect, like it was ideal, like you had doting parents who wanted you to be clean and well-dressed and presented that way. But in private, your parents were like these monsters. And so it caused this real conflict inside of you emotionally because you're like, wait a second, am I really the bad child who cannot see these good parents? And so it's given you like an advantage in working with people that have a similar situation. If you knew how common that was, people that are ministers in public and then in private they're just crazy people to their kids, or any one of a number of people that are in positions of authority and they have power that they don't know how to handle, and then they just come home and they don't really realize how misunderstood they are, and they're just crazy people. I mean, they really have mental health issues. So, but that's like part of what you have tried to put together. But you work with your psychic energy in a way that I personally would never do, because you allow your energy to go so far out in order to help somebody capture pieces of their fragmented soul and to bring them back into reality for them. I just personally wouldn't do that kind of work. I mean, I think you're fabulous for doing it. But, oh my gosh, no. So I just wish I could get you to be less hard on yourself. That's the only wish I have for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, let me just say a few things that you touched on. I consider myself different than most people on this planet for lots of reasons, not because I want to be out of ego. I try to say, look, no matter what I say, it's not coming from my ego. It's coming from direct experience. I became aware of all my past lives by the time I was about 27. All right. And I go back as far as Atlantis and one lifetime before that. I did spend a lot of time in the Esther plane learning how to travel beyond it. I was doing hypnosis when I was 14, and I was doing ghost busting when I was 16. By the time I was 21, I created the idea of doing past life regression. And then I went into psychic implant removals. So, but I am hard on myself because of all the things I had to go through, which My first book is How to See God. But my second book is The Truth, When Truth is Called Crazy. It's my biography. And I go into all the bad parts of my life. I mean, people will say, well, oh, you're this, you're that. And I said, no, I'm not here for money. And I'd be rich if I wanted to be. And I know I could be that. All I'd have to do is lie. But I can't. So that takes it away from me real fast. But I am hard on people that I'm working with directly. I call this an excuse. Everybody has their own truth. I mean, people want to believe they have their own truth, but I say, and I'm working on a workshop I'm going to be doing, everybody wants to do what they think is their main mission in life, which is usually programmed in a lot of ways by their parents, and then their family, and then their friends, and it slowly becomes something other than what soul wants to be. So I always try to get people to realize soul has its own mission, and it's really the same for all souls. But when we take on this body, it becomes different. Because now we have family, friends, and different things to play with and use. So, yeah, my life's been good and bad. I'm working on a new book. It's just about done now. It's really hardcore. I use the word hardcore a lot because most people don't want to hear the hardest things or the real hardcore things about death and suicide and all those other words. But I have experienced it. I died 5 times. I had 45 years traveling out of my body. I mean, I met with an alien. I met with a Bigfoot. I was a foot away from a Bigfoot. So all those things they're not imaginary to me. I work doing exorcisms. So all of it is, like you said, I do leave my body pretty far and let the energy go pretty far out. But I mean, I had 5 psychics in 1 year tell me incredible things. And they all agreed about who I am and stuff. So, I mean, I don't use that because it boosts my ego. It just made me think more about who I am. And if people really get into that point, they'd understand themselves a little bit better. Because most people, I mean, we all need friends, right? We all want friends. But a lot of times we pick the wrong ones.
It's complex. It's often complex because if we were told in advance that in order to understand what our life's purpose about, that we would have to go through the same sort of betrayal repeatedly in order to understand that, we wouldn't necessarily agree to that. But if that is what unfolds, but can I just sort of take and go back to a point with you, Tommy, about like the similarities between you and I? Just focus on the similarities for a second.
Sure.
Yeah. So I was taught how to do past life regressions and prenatal regressions and was able to actively start doing them at 16. So that's where I started. And I never realized what a weird point that was to come in as a psychic. And I think that sometimes people place too much importance upon their family. I mean, your family serves its purpose, and then, I mean, you do sort of have to go on your own journey. And in that sense, I always refer people to James Redfield's material because I think he covers it so beautifully and he explains it. I mean, he doesn't sugarcoat it, but he really does explain that process. So that's an interesting similarity, and I have used my past life memories in order to help me in my work, help me in my business, help me in my connections. And so that's been like a tool. And then doing prenatal memories is kind of like a thing to understand what my mother gave me while she was pregnant. And that's always a really helpful tool. So, but I find that people aren't too interested in developing the skills of meditation and, learning how to hold the silence and to just quietly pause through the process in order to discipline themselves enough in order to take and go through those memories. That's my own observation. It's not judgmental.
Right. Now, see, my partner's a Buddhist, right? And we kind of think the opposite in a lot of things. For me, there's only one thing that's important, all through reincarnations, all through life, and that's a real God. And some people don't even want to accept that, and that's their truth to them. They might not want to see it or understand it. But then you have religions that kind of make it mold it into something that it's not. So I went through 20 religions. Then I went through the White Brotherhood and got my initiations in that. I did a lot of things to see